What if a single glass of water could quench the fires of purgatory? In a forgotten corner of a convent, one nun made a quiet choice that seemed insignificant, but heaven saw it differently.
In this video, we'll uncover how your everyday ordinary actions can become a powerful mission rescue plan for souls in purgatory and even reparation for your own sin.
So let's not underestimate the power of small sacrifices.
Welcome back to our series on purgatory. We're happy to have you.
Yeah, thank you for being with us. Thank you for journeying with us. Some of you started at the beginning when we started talking about hell. Some of you have jumped in and started with us when we started talking about purgatory. Some of you have been with us for many, many years, but we're just honored to be able to be here with you, to serve you this way. It gives Janelle and I great joy to do this. So thank you very, very much. Today we're going to look at Father Schouppe's book, The Dogma of Purgatory, in that he has a really moving story about how ordinary actions can really have an eternal impact when they're offered to Jesus.
If I am permitted, says the Abbé Louvet, speaking on this subject, I will relate an example which came almost under my own personal experience. One of my relations was a religious in a community whom she edified, not by a heroic virtue as seen in the saints, but by ordinary virtue and great regularity of life. It happened that she lost a friend whom she had formerly known in the world, and from the time she heard of her death, she made it her duty to recommend her to God. One evening, being very thirsty, her first impulse was to refresh herself with a glass of water, this being allowed by her rule. But she remembered her deceased friend, and for the benefit of her soul, refused herself this small gratification.
I think that would be my first impulse too when I'm thirsty, to grab a glass of water and to drink. Interesting, what the sister does is she denies that first impulse and then she pours out the glass of water with the intention that God would have mercy upon the departed soul.
This good sister reminds us of King David, who, finding himself with his army in a place without water and oppressed with thirst, refused to drink the water brought to him from the cisterns of Bethlehem. Instead of raising it to his parched lips, he poured it out as a libation to the Lord. And Holy Scripture cites this act as most agreeable to God.
This act of mortification done by the sister was so pleasing to God that he allowed the soul from purgatory to appear to her in an apparition.
That night, the soul appeared to the sister, heartily thanking her for the relief she had received. Those few drops of water, denied in a spirit of mortification, were changed into a refreshing bath to temper the heat of purgatory's fires.
You may have been watching our videos and been really motivated now to help the souls in purgatory, or come to an awareness that we have to make satisfaction and make reparation for our own personal sin, and had this thought, what can I do? So now let's get really practical. We're going to break this into two parts. There are the voluntary acts that we can offer to Jesus, and number two, those that are required by our state of life. So we're going to start with number one, the voluntary acts of penance that we can do. So let's break this down. What are those voluntary things that we can offer Jesus?
So there's prayers, like you could do the rosary, you could do a chaplet. You can add some penance of fasting, or even just delayed gratification for things. One thing that I've just recently started in the last year is the 12-year prayers. So the 12-year prayers by St. Bridget are exactly that. You pray them for 12 years, every single day for 12 years. And one of the promises associated with that is that you will not see purgatory. So whether or not this is true, I don't know, but that's a great prayer to pray.
Yeah, and so I often will see Janelle while you're nursing with your prayers,
Yeah.
baby in one hand, prayers in the other, saying the 12-year prayers.
That's right.
Yeah, so I appreciate that you're doing that. Now that's private revelation. We're not bound to believe that, but I know there's some debate regarding that promise, but here's my thought. What harm could it do to pray these 12-year prayers? Like, there's great grace no matter what, and just committing to praying for 12 years prayers, it opens up grace in a person's life. Just thinking of that logically. So those voluntary acts, those things that we choose to do. Now, regarding fasting, if you've been with us for a number of years, we've talked about St. Alphonsus's guidance for fasting, which he re-echoed from St. Bonaventure. But he says that we can fast with three different ways: in quality, quantity, and manner. Quality. What does that mean? Well, you see a piece of food and you want it, and then maybe there's a less desirable piece of food right beside it. Well, you choose that one because it's the quality of food that you're sacrificing. So if you really like lots of chocolate chips in your cookie, you choose the chocolate chip cookie that has the least amount of chocolate chips. Or if you like ketchup on your burger, you don't put ketchup on your burger. Or
like the corner piece. Some people like the corner piece or don't like the corner piece.
Some people like their coffee hot. Some people like their coffee cold. I don't know who those people are. But if you like your coffee hot, have it lukewarm. So these are examples of quality. Then it goes to the quantity. Quantity means just how much you're eating. I think sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it takes way more discipline to eat until you're just almost full than completely going without food. So maybe that's a practice that you can implement out of penance. You eat just almost until you're full, and then you stop and exercise some discipline. So quantity is the amount of food, and then the last one is manner. And manner, they mean secretively. So people don't notice what you're doing. So very practical tips: quality, quantity, and manner. So what we highlighted here are voluntary acts of penance. Now let's move on to those penances that we can do, which are connected to our state in life. So Janelle, can you give an example?
Well, I'm a mother of 8 children, and so there's a lot of daily duties that I have to do. So just simply offering up those things that I have to do out of love for Jesus. So for example, like even from the moment that I wake up and that alarm goes off, offering that up to Jesus, or feeding the baby, or changing the diaper, or washing the dishes, or sweeping the floor. There's so many tasks in a day, like literally thousands of things that we can offer up to Jesus out of love for him.
And hopefully you find this encouraging, because sometimes we look at the saints and we look at their great acts of penance and we think, well, how could I do that? Like, I'm a mom, I'm a dad, I'm working, I'm tending to the household chores. Like, I can't do that. You don't have to do those great things. You just look at your duties and turn them into a prayer. And how do you do that? Is you just have the interior intention, saying, Jesus, I offer this task for, and then you state your intention for this soul in purgatory, for the reparation of sin from my past, for the reparation of sin of my family. But every little duty can win great grace. What does that look like for me? Well, little duties that I have: taking the trash out, driving it to the dump, which is about a 10-minute drive away. That action of picking up the garbage can be done. For me, again, I change many diapers during the day, offering that task. Sometimes when I have a child that's in my arms and they're crying, sometimes it's annoying, right? So you take that annoyance and say, Jesus, do something beautiful with it. I offer this annoyance for the reparation of sin of this child, or my sin, or for a departed soul. Nothing is insignificant. So if you've been watching these videos like, what can I do? You can do anything. Your whole day can be offered in reparation for sin. And you just have to develop the habit of going to Jesus and saying, this is for you, this is for this intention. But you can do this.
Or even, I was just thinking, like, you don't necessarily have to do it continuously all day, because maybe like your actions are very quick and close together. But in the morning, you could pray like a morning offering that offers up your entire day, all your prayers, your works, your joys, your sufferings, for reparation for sin.
And that's something we do as a family every morning. That's the value of having a morning prayer and a morning offering, because you're right. Sometimes our mind is occupied by the task and we have to focus on it because it's really important, or it requires 100% of our attention. So then at the beginning of the day, You make that determination, say, Lord, everything or this task that's coming up is done for this intention. Just want to point out too that the struggle of living a virtuous life can also be offered for reparation for sin. And you might be thinking, what do you mean that struggle? Well, do you ever struggle in patience and just waiting on somebody? There's this struggle in the inside. Well, that struggle, that interior pain, can be offered for reparation for sin. So this goes with the struggle of every virtue that we're trying to exercise. So the struggle of living the moral life can be offered in reparation for sin. I hope that you find this really practical, because I feel like sometimes people are like, I don't know what to do. There's so much that you can do. I will offer this one thought though. The best thing that you could do is offer the holy sacrifice of the Mass. But we're going to get to that in a future episode. So share with us below what stood out to you and why, and we'll end with a prayer.
Eternal Father, I offer Thee the most precious blood of Thy divine Son, Jesus, in union with the Masses said throughout the world today, for all the holy souls in purgatory, for sinners everywhere, for sinners in the universal Church, those in my own home and within my family. Amen.